action, there's a Holden ready to handle it.
Ready for action.
Tough, comfortable Holden ute, proven again and again. Roomy, reliable Holden panel van, and the hard-working Holden one-tonner.
Ready for action.
And right now, your Holden dealer is ready for action, with current stock to clear to make way for new deliveries.
Ready for action.
See the Action Squad and save at your Holden Light Commercial Centre.
G'day guys, welcome to Shenke Garage. It's been roughly about 1 year since I posted up the first video of the HX 1-tonner build, and I thought now is a perfect time just to share the story behind this 1-tonner. I understand that this is a little bit different to my regular build videos, but I just thought I would do this episode in between build videos. So I post every 2 weeks with the build series, and I thought I would just do this in between. So with every old classic car, there is a story behind them, so I just wanted to share the story of this 1-tonner. Now I do have a heap of photos that I'll post up on the screen, and I do apologise in advance for the quality of the photos. Camera phones and good quality cameras weren't really a thing back then, so I do apologise for the quality. Now this probably goes back to when I was about 15 years old. I got my first job working at Pizza Hut, and I started saving up money, and I got my license, and I ended up buying my first car, which was a 1986 VL Commodore Executive. And this thing was pretty nice for a 15-year-old. I was pretty stoked on this car. I absolutely loved the VL, and I guess it was the introduction into cars and becoming a bit of a petrol head and modifying cars and stuff. So I drove this thing around when I first got my license, working at Pizza Hut. I ended up getting another job picking apples. So I was working at Pizza Hut and also picking apples. And I saved up a little bit of money, and I started doing a little bit of work experience at a panel shop. And I seen this 1-tonner at the panel shop that was just painted. And the guys that were working at the panel shop told me that the owner was looking at selling that 1-tonner. And when I seen this thing, I absolutely fell in love with it. And straight away, I said to myself, yep, I want to buy that thing. So I reached out to the owner, and he was happy to sell it to me. I had to sell my VL Commodore, and I had a bit of money saved up. So between the sale of that and the bit of money I had, I purchased this 1-tonner that I have today, which I paid $8,500 for it, which for back then, I think that was pretty good money. It had it was really tidy 1-tonner. So when I bought this thing, it had the nice paint job, it had the nice interior, had the Premier front, GDS dash, had nice wheels, had the nice fat rubber on the back. Yeah, I was pretty stoked on this 1-tonner. So I ended up driving around in this 1-tonner for a while, become my daily driver. And I ended up getting an apprenticeship as a diesel mechanic, and I would just drive this thing to work, do my daily diesel mechanic job. And yeah, the weekends was driving around this thing, going to parties. I used to skateboard, so I used to drive around and go to different skate spots. I used to kart rails and ramps and stuff on the back of this thing, driving around various skate spots. I had a lot of fun, a lot of memories in this thing when I was young, and it served me pretty well. Now with the 253, it was all noise and no go, and I thought it was about time I would update the engine. And I ended up buying a 308 engine from the wreckers, and it was a standard bore. I was just going to rebuild it as a 308, but I guess one thing leads to another, and I thought, well, I might as well put a stroker kit in it. So I still wasn't really earning that great of money. I was earning more money as a 3rd and 4th year, but wasn't the greatest. And I would buy parts every fortnight, got paid fortnightly, so every fortnight I would buy a new part. It was, one fortnight it was a intake manifold, and next fortnight it was a carby, then it was the pistons, until I got up to the point of having enough parts to rebuild the engine. And I was talking to an engine builder, and he ended up building this engine for me. I just didn't trust myself. I spent a lot of money on this engine. There was a lot of time to save up to buy all these parts, and I really didn't want to build this engine myself and stuff it up. So I thought I would get an engine builder to do it. Now he built this engine for me. We ended up putting it on the engine dyno, and I'll put up the dyno sheets right now. and it made 438 horsepower, which was pretty good. My goal was to make 450 horsepower, and it was just shy of that. I reckon if I did use a carby spacer, it would have made the 450, but I never wanted to put a hole in the bonnet back then. So at this point, the engine was built and I needed to pull it off the road to get it all stripped back. So I pulled it off the road, started stripping it all back, and I started documenting the build on a forum called AussieV8.com. So this was back in the day before YouTube and Facebook. So a lot of people used to use forums back in the day. So I started documenting this build on that forum, and that forum is still there today, and the build is still on that forum. But unfortunately, not many people use it anymore. I think people have transitioned to Facebook groups and YouTube and stuff. But which kind of sucks because it was a really good forum. I spent a lot of time on that forum documenting this build, asking questions. There was a good bunch of guys on there that had a lot of knowledge, so you could post up a question and they would come back to you with some good answers. A lot of the motor build was sort of built on that, from that forum, as far as the combo. Like you could ask guys what combos they use, and people reply with what parts and everything they use. So yeah, that engine was pretty much built from that forum. So I got all the engine bay all painted up. I got the engine and transmission in. I did have the T5 originally bolted up behind the engine, but I decided to eventually go auto. So I got a auto gearbox built, a Trimatic, so that was full manualized, shift kitted, beefed up. So I got all that fitted up, and at this point I was about 24 or 25, and I just had enough of my hometown and I wanted to get out of there. Just go see more of the world, and my career sort of took a different turn. So this thing got put into storage while I moved away, and it sat in storage for a good 10 years on my old man's farm. So I guess life got in the way, and this thing got put on the back burner and was in storage for 10 years. But yeah, during the 10 years it was in storage, I did think multiple times about selling it. I was even thinking about getting someone to finish it off so I could sell it, because it was a sort of half-done project, and I guess it gets pretty hard to try and sell half-done projects, and you're never really going to get any good money for half-done projects. But anyway, ended up keeping it, and I am very thankful I did keep it. It has been a part of my life for the last 16, 17 years, so I'm very happy I never got rid of it. So fast forward 10 years to today, I ended up moving to Brisbane, and I wanted to buy a house, and I knew at that point it was time to finally finish off the one-tonner. So I made sure that the house that I bought had a decent backyard so I could get this shed built on it and get the tonner up from South Australia. So the tonner got transported up from South Australia, and this was when COVID hit, and I was very fortunate enough to get the shed built and get this tonner up from South Australia so I could start working on it. I'm very thankful that COVID never really impacted me with the lockdowns and stuff, because I had a lot to do with stripping this tonner back and yeah, working on the tonner. So going back a year to the start of this build for the second time, I thought I would pick up from where I left off 10 years ago, but I then made the decision to pull the cab off and strip it all back properly. And looking back now, I'm very glad that I made that decision, because I did find a lot of bad repairs and a lot of rust in this car when I stripped it back. So all the cab mounts were shot, the floor pans were gone, the plenum was stuffed, there was rust in the roof, there was rust in the rear corners. There was a lot of rust in this thing, which is very unfortunate, because I thought back in the day what I was buying was a rust-free vehicle, but there was just a lot of dodgy repairs. There was a lot of bog used in it. And yeah, when I stripped it back, I was very, very pissed off that I found all these issues, and I knew that there was going to be a lot of work ahead of me. But looking back now, I kind of am thankful for that, because I've learned a lot and I've got a lot of experience in doing rust repairs and a lot of experience in bodywork now. And it is actually quite rewarding getting it all done. Pretty much everything's been done on this ute now. Everywhere that rusts has been done, and it is now a all steel cabin and body now. So yeah, looking back on it, I think it was kind of a good thing. I was just very pissed at the time, I guess. So coming back to present time, I definitely think this one tonner has come a long way in the last year. There's been a lot of work, a lot of time, and a lot of money has gone into this build. It definitely has snowballed out of control a little bit, but any car guy knows that whatever you think the cost is going to be and the time frame, you pretty much double it and plus some. And that is pretty much the story of this one tonner. For me, I think it is all definitely worth it. It's very rewarding, and I'm gonna have an awesome cruiser once it's finally finished. Definitely looking forward to the day I can drive it out of the shed and drive it onto the bitumen. It's gonna be an awesome feeling. And yeah, looking forward to going to some car shows and going for cruises and just enjoying this thing in general. So I don't think I could ever sell this thing. It's been a big part of my life for the last 17 years, and it would definitely take a lot for me to sell this thing. I honestly don't think I could. So I hope you enjoyed the story of the one tonner. I know it's a little bit different to my regular build videos, and I do hope you enjoyed it, but if you didn't, then don't worry, there's gonna be regular build videos. There is gonna be plenty more videos to come in the future. I've still got a fair bit of work to do on this thing. I am starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel, but I do have a lot of work to do. I've still got the tray, I've got the wiring, got to finish smoothing off the body, get the high fill done, rub that back. I've got the interior to think about. So yeah, there's still plenty of episodes to come. So if you did enjoy the video, leave a thumbs up. Also hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. And yeah, we'll see you next time on Shenke Garage with an actual build episode. Cheers guys.